Hi all. When we get a new SU release, that's a sim update, I do try and go through most of the aircraft that I regularly use and make sure that they still work properly and fully with the new SU. So, we've had quite a few recently in this year, and the most recent is SU11. So, in part of the process of going through them all is the aircraft that do work but aren't very good, or they don't work fully and need improving, I tend to bin and stick in a folder somewhere, or delete them if they're completely useless. But because of the way that the sim works when it's loading aircraft in when you're at an airport, for example, I don't leave many aircraft in my community folder because you'll just get loads of silly things, like sometimes you'll be flying the say you're flying this one, which is the little MiG-15. If you then leave it in your community folder and you go to somewhere like any old airport, like Heathrow or somewhere, you'll suddenly see loads of these scattered all over the airport that you're leaving from because it thinks, oh, you like this one, or it's in your community folder, so it'll stick it on the airfield. And which is a bit of a pain because, of course, there aren't many MiG-15s left in the world, and there certainly aren't 15 of them at Heathrow Airport. So I don't tend to leave them in there, and I'll go back and I'll take them out of my saved folder and test them with each of the SUs to make sure they work. Some of them I don't fly very regularly, like this one, the Hurricane and the Spitfire. I don't tend to fly them very often, but I do like them, so I leave them in there and I do test them with each of the SUs as they come around. This one, though, I haven't tested for quite a while, and someone mentioned on one of my videos from a year ago, they mentioned a couple of days ago that they couldn't get it to start on the button. So in the process of finding out why, it's taken a while. It's taken a couple of hours actually of testing to find out why they were maybe having an issue. I found out that I also was having an issue, and I don't know if it's going to affect anyone else, so we'll just go through it and explain what the issue is. So as you can see, the cockpits here, there are some things that don't work but look like they should. So for example, this switch here, although the mouse cursor changes to the hand to make you think it will do something, it doesn't actually move. Whether or not it's doing something but it's just not animated, I don't know. Some things we don't know what they are. I don't know what that is, for example, but it does work. I'm guessing this is oxygen supply. That does work, but it only goes one way, then won't go back again. But we don't really need those. This one also appears to, it should move, but it doesn't. And other ones do move. All the rest of them that have a hand up here do seem to work. The actual cockpit of the aircraft has 3344, so this isn't quite realistically made, but it's great. It works fine. It's very close to the real thing. I suppose one annoying thing is things are in Russian, so it might be quite difficult for people to understand what each of the switches are. But because most of them don't work, it doesn't really matter, so that's quite good. But we have an issue in that earlier when I tested it, well, earlier a year ago, it worked fine. It was no issues at all. It started and you can do cold and dark start, no worries at all. This person mentioned they couldn't get it to start on the button. The start button's here on the throttle. And in the course of testing it myself, I discovered I couldn't get it to start at all. I was just like, what? So the correct sequence is quite simple. We'll go through these though. That's the flaps. The actual high pressure fuel switch is down here underneath and behind the flaps. But and this should be a throttle lock, which just locks the throttle in place once you've got it at cruising speed. But in this case, this is actually the high pressure fuel cock. And the rest of the buttons are going to be let's just explain them as we go through them. So, first of all, there's the main battery. Then there's the alternator, or generator, whatever you prefer to call it. There is another one there which you can't really see because it's in the dark. That does work, we need that on. This one as well. I think this is the lights, the landing lights, but we'll turn it on anyway. This one you need to turn on. You'll hear it spin up a bit. You see the HUD move slightly, but it doesn't actually spin up to full speed and the HUD doesn't align itself properly. And you think, well, yeah, that's it. All the buttons are on that can be on. And we should be able to start. So you press the button. You see it change up from 0 to 1. And it should kick in. And then it doesn't kick in. You think, what? And one of the problems is that these canopy latches are hiding another switch, which is this one here, which is the main starter, but that's in the on position. So what I have to do now is I have to flip it off and then flip it back on again, and then it'll start. In the real aircraft you have to hold that button in for 10 seconds to engage the starter. You'll see it flips from 0 to 1. And then it engages. And the engine starts. So I have no idea why it's doing that, but that's what's fixed my problem. I don't know if anyone else has the same problem. But that's what it is for me. You have to flip it off and then flip it back on again, and then it will start as normal. So just go through that again. So to get it to start, off and on, and then on, you don't need to do all of those, it's just best to get in the habit of doing things. That's the habit I've got into, is switching them all on. So there we go, that's what works for me. I have to flip it off and on again. And once I've done that, the starting procedure is as normal and the engines will start properly. Thanks for watching.